Welcome to the Weekly Growl, where bold conversations meet good coffee. Every Tuesday night, Bayou goes live to talk men's grooming, mental health, coffee, culture, and the gear that actually matters. No fluff, no filters, just real talk. This is the show that keeps it raw, bold, and unapologetic. So grab your mug, let's growl.
Comment ça va, mes amis? Welcome to the Weekly Growl, the special edition this week, coming to you live directly from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Yes. Okay, yeah. My goodness gracious sakes alive, y'all. It has been a long week, not in a bad way, in a good way. And like today, I walked more than I have in probably the past, 5 years combined. And of course, getting my drink on, and that Miss Nicole from the API, also known as the American Petroleum Institute, gave in us, all of us, there was four energy citizens in a goodie bag. And yeah, it's really coming in handy because I wasn't able to bring one from home because I didn't have enough room in my luggage. So let's see who we have here with us tonight. All right. Okay. Yes. Mr. Woodpit Candles himself there, Kevin. Thank you for joining us. And then we've also got, howdy y'all. I wonder who says howdy y'all all the time. It's Ellie. Thank you for popping in, Ellie. I'm sorry I don't have your greeting. I'm not at home, so I don't have my access to my soundboard. I'm doing this old school style with my old Chromebook and my old little USB camera. This is what I originally started out with. And like I say, I'm going back old school tonight just for a little while. And yes, I got on the shirt and tie, boy. I was looking fancy-fied, y'all. Looking all spiffy. And now you're asking, what was I doing here? And oh yeah, and then okay, I also said hello, family and friends. And then who else is hidden here? All right, Stream Elements. Oh, I can't believe I put that. And who is that? Bake. Oh, what's the crack? Okay, crack. What's up, my brother? And then Kevin, thank you very much. Yeah, the trim is really nice. Great barber, super great barber. Just I'm not that good at styling yet. I'm still working on. My wife does an amazing job with my heated brush straightener, but I'm not that talented yet. You know, I'm learning. But anyway, you folks may or may not know, I'm here in Washington, D.C. as a guest of the Institute. I am an energy citizen. Now, what is Energy Citizens? Well, you know what? I'm so glad you asked. Energy Citizens, you know, I maybe I should have gone to their website and could give you a more descriptive idea, but they describe themselves. It is basically it's a grassroots organization that comes together and, whenever they call us out, anytime our governments, plural, local, state, federal, but mainly federal governments, come up with any type of legislation or regulations, proposed proposed legislation uh, pertaining to the drilling, production, and all this kind of stuff with the oil and gas industry in the United States. Uh, Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, we get called into action and to, you know, do whatever needs to be done. If it's to post a comment on the Federal Register, or if it's to well, I don't want to say necessarily testify because it's not actually like hearings, but sometimes they have these government groups have comment periods, and sometimes they have live sessions, like a Zoom meeting or something, to receive comments and questions and so on and so forth about proposed legislation. And hello, my dear, my beautiful wife, y'all. Everybody say hi to my beautiful wife. And anyway, we are kind of I guess you could call it a civic organization, community organization supporting the production and drilling and general welfare of our natural resources here in the U.S., which, is a major part of all of our lives, whether we realize it or not. That device that you're watching this with, yeah, that was a lot of petroleum and petroleum byproducts that went into the designing and making the production of that device. Plastics made from petroleum oil, and some of the fibers in this shirt are fibers in this tie made from petroleum. And of course, if you got it, a truck driver delivered it, and that requires petroleum in the distillate form of diesel to get it to you. But anyway, I digress. It's a great group of people. And what's up, my homie? My homie Michael Romy. All right. That's a great group of people. I have met so many wonderful. Hey, what's up, my brother Shade? My ML and R, brother. Met some wonderful people through Energy Citizens. And then I'm here at this, it was the 2026 State of American Energy. And they never really told us if this was a conference or a meeting. It obviously wasn't a think tank because, that would require thought. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And yeah, gotta love some of these comments. Petroleum jelly, that's right. But yeah, we went to the presentation, if you will, this morning, and there were multiple speakers, and I have some pictures from it, but I couldn't necessarily figure out how to post them on here. As I said, I'm not at home. I'm not on my computer, and not that my computer is that great, but I just remember a lot more about the operations thereof to share these photographs, and I could probably make an out of it, but I didn't have enough time because, oh man, look, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm coming to you live from the future because let's see, okay, back home, my wife is watching this at 8:11 p.m. Well, hey, where I'm here right now, it's 9:11 p.m., so I'm an hour ahead of her. Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't able to prepare because, man, being an hour ahead of my other self back in that reality, I'm getting up an hour early, and unfortunately, I'm still going to bed an hour late. So yeah, I'm a little tired. Not really too much jet lag, but my trip here was, as as always, anything I do, it's an adventure. Yeah, my trip here was an adventure because I flew out of Lafayette, where I live, and yeah, these people are great. They just said, "Let us know what's the city you're flying out of." Blah blah blah. So I didn't have to choose, like Baton Rouge is an hour away, New Orleans 2 hours away, Houston 3 hours away, and have to be driven to any of these cities. Just able to. My wife brought me right down the road. What 2-3 miles to the Lafayette Airport and flew out of there. So that was groovy cool. Only problem was my flight got delayed. Now my flight was supposed to take off at 7 a.m. yesterday morning. So that means I was at the airport for like about 5:30. Yeah, about 5:30, 5:45. Okay. Well, we boarded the plane. We're all on the plane and saw one of those little planes that full, but I hadn't flown in 25 years. But anyway, we're all on the plane and they tell us there's going to be a little delay because there's ice on the plane. Ice on the wings, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, they told us there was ice. And it would take an hour to warm up the ice truck, I guess you could say. I clicked your links. Hey, Shade, I clicked your link that you sent me, both of them, and it just took me to TikTok. It just opened up wherever I was left off on TikTok. So I don't know what's up with that, man. But I'm having issues with my phone. I don't think I can access my messages from my Chromebook here, but yeah, I've been having issues with my phone with stuff freezing up and jamming up. So that might be part of it. But anyway, yeah, the the ice removal truck, for lack of a better term, is they told us it would take an hour for the truck to warm up. An hour for the truck to warm up. Okay, well, whatever. And use an app. Okay, what are you saying here, Kevin? Use an app called Local Send, but I don't know if it supports Chrome. I don't know, man. That's but this is a wonderful little tool. It worked great for what I was doing previously, but since I'm going a little further and further, and there shouldn't be yeah, you would think that there wasn't any ice on the plane down south, but yeah, it was I'm trying to remember Monday morning, it was like 30 degrees. Yeah, we had a little bit of a freeze. But anyway, back to my story. Yeah, ice on the wings, ice on the plane, yada, yada, yada. The pilot comes on and your safety is first, blah, 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 blah. Well, whatever. So he said it was going to take an hour for the truck to get warmed up. But so they were trying to seek alternate methods that wouldn't take as long. So first they brought the ground crew and those type of people to I don't know. I don't know what exactly they were going to do, if they were just going to, hey, yeah, that's ice. Or I don't know. Maybe not. That didn't work, obviously. So then they brought out, they borrowed a de-icer truck, thingamajiggamabob, and that they borrowed from another airline. So it came out now. I found this really funny because, okay, what is ice? It's frozen water. Now, this truck came out. I'm pretty sure there was water involved in whatever it is that they sprayed the plane with. Yes, there was chemicals in it, but it had water in it. So I don't know, man. I just don't know. But yeah, they did that. So we finally get to take off. Okay, groovy, cool. I had a connecting flight in Houston. Well, my connecting flight stopped boarding uh before, either right before or right as we were disembarking the plane. So, okay, and flying United here. I don't remember if I'd ever flown United previously. But anyway, uh I finally make it. I didn't understand when I got on the plane, they took my carry-on baggage and then they brought back my my BiPAP machine, said that's a medical device. It can stay with you. Okay, cool. Well, we got off the plane. I was like, okay, where the hell are my bags? And like, oh, you just go get them over there or something. Well, I went all the way into the terminal and they said, no, you need to go back onto the little bridge thingy that that you used to board the plane, right through that door. So I go and I see all these people and I'm like, man, that's a bunch of people waiting to get on board this plane. And I'm like, wait a minute. A lot of these people look familiar. Well, it was everybody else that was on the flight. It wasn't people wanting to get on the plane. They were waiting for their baggage, their carry on. So I get my stuff. And by this time, man, I'm just discombobulated, worn out, whatever. And weebly wobbly. And of course, my connecting flight has left. It took off. So I go up to the agent, whatever you call it, at the gate, and the lady says, oh, okay, yeah, you missed your connecting flight, but we've already booked you another flight. I'm like, cool. She says, I need to print you your boarding pass. Okay. She prints me up this little ticket. And now here's where the really interesting part was coming. You need to go see DT, bring KFC. Let you. Yeah. And like you said, hello, DC crew. What's up? Yeah. I'm not sure who this is, but apparently it's one of my DC peeps. Thank you so very much for joining. But anyway, so they print me up my boarding pass, and it's going to be at the same gate. It's like, okay, cool. Where's that gate? Well, according to the app, that gate is a 22-minute walk. Now, I'm already not doing so well physically, mentally, emotionally. So I go, hey, what's up, Mr. Mark Johnson? And thank you. And yeah, Kevin says, we got more people watching than we got likes. So hit that like button like it owes you money. But anyway, so I make it to, finally I find a ticket agent type person. And I tell them like, okay, I'm lost. I don't know where I am, blah, 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 blah. Do you need some assistance? Well, first, where are you going, sir? And I tell them, look, okay, do you need assistance? Yes, greatly. So then I said, okay, well, this guy that was at the ticket agent desk thing for that gate, he comes, he takes me, said, follow me. So we go for a little walk. And I passed by this area in the airport there where there was like a lot of people sitting down and there was people at desks and I didn't know what the heck it was. Well, it is the assistance area, for lack of a better term. Yeah, they had me sit for a little while they got stuff together and whatever. But this was the area where the people that get wheeled through the airport in the little wheelchair things. Yeah, so they let me get in a wheelchair, and this lady put my bag underneath and put my other carry-on bag on my lap, and we took off. And then, of course, she said, "Oh no, we're gonna take the the bus, the shuttle bus. Actually, she called it the Sky Train, but there was no train. Okay, I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So and by the way, the moving sidewalks, like most of us are accustomed to, they didn't have any over in Houston. And the lady told me, yeah, where we do have them, we don't really actually need them. It's for the international flights. Typical. But anyway, so she takes me, we get on the shuttle bus, we towed it, we get over there, puts me sitting in the section. Well, hey, I'm good to go. I still got an hour before my plane starts boarding. And then I run into a panic because my phone battery is getting low because, of course, I had to play Mahjong on the flight there and while I was in the airport and stuff. So my battery's running low. Well, I reached into my bag and I brought a charger. Oh, yeah. And it's one I found while I was packing. I was like, oh, there's a new charger. Cool, great. It's got a massive block that it plugs in. Okay, it was the wrong kind of charger. It was not a USB-C plug. It was one of those other USB type plugs, whatever it's called. So I'm getting a little upset, perturbed, but called my wife, told her, this last time I'm going to talk to you till my phone is plugged in. Well, then I go digging in my bag, and of course, my lovely wife packed my PlayStation Portal to come with me so I can play while I'm here. Well, in my Portal bag, I have not one, but 2 different charging cords. Super great. I go and I plug it in, and now one of them is USB-C to USB-C. Got to have a special block for that. The other one is your standard USB-C for the phone to USB-A for the plug-in, whatever. Okay, that card doesn't work. I don't know why, but it doesn't work. It doesn't like my phone. It doesn't like my phone when it's plugged into a block. It doesn't like my phone when it's plugged into a USB jack on the wall, like here in the hotel room. I haven't tried plugging it into my Chromebook yet, but it doesn't like that. So, okay, no problem. Then I think, my Chromebook, the power supply for it is USB-C. So I just reach into my backpack, grab it, plug it in, bloop, charging. Love it. Perfect solution. Great, wonderful. So got all that squared away. Now, of course, I didn't have it charged up enough. And of course, my second flight, now I'm sure the first flight, everything, the flight that I missed, I'm sure everything probably would have gone just wonderful. But the flight that I wound up taking, they told us before we started to board the plane, we're having some technical difficulties with the satellite and whatnot, so there won't be any Wi-Fi for this flight. And the flight is only 3 hours long. And flight deck, flying altitude, cruising altitude was 37,000 feet. I didn't get a phone signal that high up. No, I don't know. Maybe we're flying over the 5G towers. I don't know. But that was that fun. And then I make it to the airport. We're landing. We're touching down. I'm finally getting phone signal, and I've got all these freaking messages from different people, text messages as well as calls. Well, there was a car service that the API uses. I had texted a message to one of my contacts for this whole trip and let them know that my flight got changed. Well, she didn't realize that my flight got changed. She just thought I was on schedule. Well, the driver showed up and he waited for me for a little over an hour, and I still wasn't here. Yeah, well, I wasn't on that flight. So he left. Well, the other driver, I don't know how many drivers they have, but it's pretty cool. he contacts me. He leaves messages, says, I'll be waiting for you outside, blah, 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 blah. Where you're coming out of door 2. I'm like, I text back, dude, I have no clue where I am. None. And of course, I'm meandering around. I'm at Reagan Airport, Ronald Reagan International, whatever airport here in DC. And of course, I go the wrong way, go through the wrong door, like go this way, go that way. So I follow signs as ground transportation. Okay, maybe here. And yes, finally I find door number 2, big old 2. What was behind door number 2? I don't know. I decided to make a deal. Anyway, yeah. So get out there, and okay. Here's the what I find the funny, ironic thing about it. The American Petroleum Institute has on their website a list of the upcoming events. Well, this event was not listed on the website. Okay, and I get outside and I'm waiting, and it's a black SUV pulls up with dark tinted windows, and the driver gets out. And I'm like, okay, so wonder who's going to be bidding on my spleen or one of my kidneys later this week. Nah, it wasn't bad at all. I know I have a vivid imagination that runs away with me, but the car service was great. The guy was really nice, and we talked all along the way. His family is originally from Algeria. Now, back there in Louisiana, we have a neighborhood that's part of New Orleans, the New Orleans city limits, because they never incorporated, and it's called Algiers. And I said something about Algiers, and he said, "Oh yeah. That's the name of the capital of Algeria." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, we have a neighborhood called Algiers." He said, "Yeah, that they named it after our capital because of the settlers that came over from Algeria and settled in that particular area. They called it Algiers, just like other neighborhoods in New Orleans. There's Algiers, there's Uptown, the Central Business District. And Algiers also is on the west bank of the Mississippi River. So interesting, fascinating story as far as I'm concerned. So make it back to the hotel, and man, it was just groovy cool. And we went out to dinner that night and had a great dinner at this place that's in walking distance. The majority of our events were in walking distance from the hotel, except for yeah, baby. She's exhausted from me with all the journey issues. Yeah. But okay, who else is I got some dudes out there organ hunting. Well, Romy, let them know that my organs probably aren't very good. I would donate my organs, but it would have to go to science to study, how can a human being survive for this long with bad organs. And yeah, I know, Shade, you got so much titanium. Well, I got the titanium in my head, and that didn't set anything off. So I guess I was all right. But yeah, we went to this restaurant, like I said, down the street, and it was kind of interesting because, okay, we go in and they have this separated portion of the restaurant. There's the bar, and then there's this portion that's got a little half wall with lattice work and all this kind of stuff around, and it's got tables lined up along the wall with booth type seats up against the wall, and then tables and chairs. So it makes like a square U, and then there's a few there. Well, that was where everyone was having dinner. Energy Citizens and the API and whoever else, I don't know. And there was a menu that was just basically just telling us what they were serving us. Well, I thought, you have to place your order. Well, no, we're sitting at the table and they said, well, would you like something to drink? Well, first they start off, they bring us ice cold water. And, I'm a little parched from being dehydrated all day because I couldn't bring a tumbler with me to load it up with my Crystal Light. And then one of the guys from API says, "Hey, you want?" He starts asking around, "Y'all want to get a bottle of wine?" And they say, "Well, would you like to drink a glass of wine? Why not? It's probably safer than bourbon on the rocks." Was what I kind of had in mind, but but anyway, we drank, and then the appetizers they had listed on the little menu thing. Some little bread, dinner rolls, biscuits almost, not quite biscuits, but dinner rolls, and lamb shish kebabs, little small ones, and some type of crab dip. Okay, dude, this is not home. Don't try to get cutesy with me and try to play Cajun. Okay, so yeah. Well, anyway, nobody places an order. Wait staff starts bringing out food, these appetizer plates, and they're bringing multiple of each one of them at spots on the table, and we already each had a little plate in front of us, so you just serve yourself. So thought that was cool, and then they got to the main course was some type of seafood pasta, and like I said, something tells me we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. So yeah, they've that skirt steak, which actually I didn't try, but they also had some type of chicken that, well, it wasn't some type of chicken. It was chicken that I think may have been stuffed with something. But I'm talking about like seasoning, not stuff with cornbread dressing or boudin or something like that. Good stuff. But it was cut into small enough sections, portions that you just take. Okay, so that was good, man. That was some off the chain chicken. And then they said, "Oh, we still got dessert coming." Well, dessert, I don't remember what the technical term was, but it was some kind of little small chocolate brownie cake thing that was a little dry. And then lime pie squares, not key lime pie, lime pie. Don't know what's the difference. But anyway, it was good. Oh, yeah, it was definitely good. So, yeah, that was Monday night's festivities. Had a great time. Got some pictures. I took way more pictures than I typically will take ever. Not nearly enough. Had I known about today, because today was, the big shindig. Well, after the shindig, we all go eat lunch at a brunch restaurant called Milk and Honey. Pretty good little place. Took a few pictures there, and then we went for a guided tour of the Capitol. If I'd have known ahead of time, I'd have borrowed my son's GoPro and strapped it to my head, because there's just so many things to take pictures of. We went in through the Cannon building. All these buildings have names, and the Cannon building is for Congress. I don't remember if it's Senate or House of Representatives. There's a few offices in that building, but from that building, we took the stairs down to the cellar, basement, the tunnels. Dude, there's a freaking city underneath DC, okay? And I'm not talking about the metro, which is like the subway or something like that. Underneath the freaking Capitol, there's tunnels that are so long you could like small car, so big and so long you could drive a small car to get from point A to point B. So we go and we make it to the Capitol. All sorts of just amazing things, and all this stuff is all underground. Go figure. The above ground things we visited were like I'm trying to think. Oh, we went and we sat in on the House of Representatives. They were in session, but I was a little disappointed with what I saw there. And apparently, it's a thing up here. It's what goes on, I guess. When the House is in session and they're not voting on a bill and or debating the bills, barely anybody shows up, and that was disappointing. It was like, okay, well, that's the kind of job I want. Show up for work and still get paid really, really well. I felt like they should have been there, but that's just me. I don't know. I don't understand the inner workings of the government, but I don't. I personally don't think they's earning their paychecks right now, but yeah, and that's a whole different discussion for another time. But yeah, it was awesome. We got to see where the original Supreme Court used to meet. I got a few pictures of that too, and all these cool statues and stuff. And of course, they had statues for every state. And for Louisiana, of course, it was a statue of Huey P. Long, the kingfish. I can't imagine anybody else other than possibly Edwin Edwards who should have a statue over here. But yeah, that was cool. And like I said, we saw all sorts of amazing sights. And I walked more than I have walked in, I don't know, years, literally. But fortunately for me, God is great. Thank you, Jesus. This morning when I got dressed, I had bought this pair of wingtip loafers. I'm a sucker for wingtips, okay? And I got them at Goodwill for like, I don't know, a few bucks. I hadn't worn them yet. But I do know that the last pair of wingtip loafers that I owned would hurt the snot out of the soles of my feet if I wore them for too long, if I did too much walking around. Well, this morning I'm getting dressed. I put on the loafers and then realized my suit pants are too long. I'll be walking. Oh, man. Well, lucky for me, like I said, God is great. I had brought my Doc Martens. So I put on my black Docs. They went beautifully with the outfit. I wasn't walking on my pants. And my feet thanked me after we were done because I wasn't hurting like I'll get out. So yeah, that was a good thing. That was a good, I don't believe in coincidences, but if you want to say it was a coincidence, yeah, a good coincidence that my pants were too long that I couldn't wear the loafers. I need to get those pants taken up and hemmed because those pants, the waist is probably like 4 or 5 sizes too big for me. My brother gave me his suit. And we had a problem with the waist being that big because to get into the Capitol, like I said, we went in through the Cannon building. Well, what's up, Frankie J? Glad you can make it. Owen, Frankie, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you tagging me in all of those giveaways on IG. And obviously, you are a man of fragrance because most of them are fragrance giveaways, which I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely down with that. But anyway, okay, well, I told you, we went in through the Cannon building. Well, there's the checkpoint, if you will, the screening and whatnot. And empty out your pockets and take off let me keep my suit jacket on, but I had to empty out everything, and I mean everything out of my pockets. Excuse me. And then had to take off my belt. Didn't have to take off my shoes, thank God. Had to take off my belt, and the problem is, I told him straight up, this could get ugly. I said, what do you mean? I said, these pants are too big. If I take off my belt, I got to hold on tight. Otherwise, they're going to drop. Well, thank God they didn't drop, but it was funny. I'm walking. So anyway, yeah, that was the only thing that I didn't like about that, but I understand, safety precautions and stuff. And then we get to go to sit in the gallery for the house. There's another screening process. You have to give them any and all electronic devices because you can't have phones, you can't take pictures, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Well, there's a basket that everybody put their stuff in. And then we go upstairs and over the river and through the woods. And then there's another security screening point where they do the full body x-ray thing. And they said, well, just take off. If you have a jacket on, take it off. It makes it easier that way, whatever. Okay, cool. Well, I still had my flashlight and my power pack for my phone. Well, they made me surrender that at the desk till we got done. And then I go to get my jacket after I've gone through the x-ray thing. And the security guard says, oh, no, you can't go in there with this in your pocket. And it's a big, large Tootsie Roll. I said, I wasn't going to go in there with it anyway. I have no idea where that come from. Oh, well, that's in your pocket. And I was like, ma'am, I'm positive I know what was in my pocket, and that wasn't. So I have no idea where that Tootsie Roll came from. It's still on the table, and unless somebody took it away, but I'm messing with that. I didn't know where that come from. So that was kind of weird. But yeah, we had a great time. And then, of course, after we got done with the tour, the four of us, the four Energy citizens, were taken to the API's building to film video testimonies, testaments, referrals, whatever, I don't know. But yeah, there was even a makeup artist there, did a little makeup touch up. And that was a cool experience, getting interviewed for the camera. And I'm sure they're going to edit all of that stuff. And I'm sure at some point the videos will be posted online somewhere. And I'm hoping that they let me know so I can check them out, check out my video. But that was really cool. And, with how I talk a lot, I was a perfect fit for it because they'd say, what do you think about this? And I'd and boom, I'd answer the next question. Yeah, Romy, a Tootsie Roll, they're uptight. Dude, no food or drinks or candy or anything allowed at all in there. So, and I saw up on the desk, there was the Tootsie Roll. And then there was also, like, I don't remember, some other kind of candy that comes in a bigger package. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, that's tripping. But yeah, the testimony or whatever, interview process, whatever, was really cool. And the people were so nice. And we had to pause mine because about halfway into it, all hell broke loose in the district. There are sirens and sirens and sirens and more sirens going off. And it's like, okay, we're going to have to wait. And I'm wondering, man, I don't know what they do, how they edit their stuff, but I know when I edit my stuff in CapCut, dude, I can just filter all that out. But hey, yeah, no, in fact, Romy, I'm not going to even put that up here. Yeah, we're not going to go there. But yeah, and I said, what's the deal? I said, oh, it's something major. I said, well, isn't it always in DC? And these people apparently been working here a while. They're like, yeah, matter of fact, it is. I'm like, okay, whoops. And no, dear, I didn't have any cough drops in my. I got some somewhere on this table in here that I'm gonna take some. Yeah, I'm still not fully recovered from my fun times with the flu, but I'm a whole lot better than I was. But I still got a little sinus stuff going, and then of course, the drastic change in temperatures. We went from being in the 70s and 80s last week to back home. They're like probably in the 40s and stuff. And when I got up and to go downstairs this morning, it was 30 degrees over here. Yeah. So my trench coat, my London Fog trench coat, came in very, very handy. I even had the liner in it because when you just wear it without the liner as a raincoat, it's not warm at all. I've tried it already, and I was cold. But yeah, I'm just experience of a lifetime for me because nowadays I don't go anywhere, I don't do anything, and Washington D.C. really is not a place that I had intended to visit. Simply because of my truck driver past. When I yeah, now the cat's out of the bag. When I was driving, the closest I made it to Washington D.C. was I took a load into McLean, Virginia, which is like, okay, D.C.'s here, McLean, Virginia's here, and the line is like that close. I was within stone's throw of D.C. and I'm not going to say commercial motor vehicles aren't allowed in the district, but my size commercial motor vehicles, which would be through traffic and not delivering through that, no. And I was like, no, won't go any further north. Not going to do New York or New England or any of that kind of stuff because their streets in New York aren't built for regular size vehicles, much less 18 wheels or more on pavement. So, like I said, it was not a place that I would have visited because, back when I was driving, I didn't really visit anywhere. I've been to a whole lot of states, but, I technically didn't visit them except for my little 1 week vacation in LA, waiting for a load to get released. But anyway, another story for another time. But yeah, when they called me up and asked me if I would like to come, I'm like, that sounds great. And I already started talking about next year and told them, well, I sure hope I can make it back here next year. I hope I get invited back. And like, oh yeah, we hope you get invited back too. They're not on the invitation committee. And then I also talked to them about if API doesn't have an office in Louisiana. And one of the guys, Todd, explained to me why the API doesn't have an office in Louisiana yet. But it's going to take a localized grassroots movement because in Louisiana, anybody who works in the oil field knows exactly what API standards are. And some of you out here may know what API standards are. Well, the API and API standards stands for the American Petroleum Institute. Yeah. The people I was hanging out with today, they sponsored the event. Well, they also pretty much wrote the book standardizing anything and everything, procedures, processes, down to the type of threading that is done on drill pipe to universalize it. So yeah, everybody, if an oil field worker in Louisiana doesn't know, has never heard of API standards, they're not an oil field worker. No. So I think that, yeah, the good old Boy Network thinks that they don't need any help, but I'm sure that you talk to us grunts and the lower level people, we're going to tell you straight up, yeah, we know exactly what kind of stuff you do, and yeah, let's do this. At least I'm hoping anyway. But anyway, let's see. Now, we got another comment. I saw a Hell's Angel meeting gearing up in Akron at their Akron, Ohio chapter. They had motorcycles all over and dudes guarding the main entrance. So cool to see. Oh, most definitely, man. I tell you what would be an amazing, and I mean amazing thing to see which I didn't get to see any of the sights because by the time we got out this evening, it was 5:45, 6 o'clock up here, and it was dark because I wanted to go check out the Lincoln Memorial, but I don't even know where it is in relation to where I am, but allegedly it's not far. I don't know. And he's talking about the Hells Angels getting ready to go on a ride. Well, you know, every year there is a Vietnam veterans ride, and bikers ride in from all over the country, and they come to DC and they converge on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, which I really would love to go see, and I also want to go see the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, but unfortunately didn't have the opportunity today. And tomorrow it's not looking too good because the car service is picking us up at 10 minutes to 11 to go to the airport. My flight leaves at a few minutes after 12. So we're going to be doing that. I really don't think I would have time in the morning to get up, pack my stuff, eat breakfast because, oh, yeah, they got a breakfast buffet downstairs here. You know me, I'm always down for a breakfast buffet. I can eat breakfast 24/7. So got to hit that up too. But now that I've seen only a small slice of what there is to see, I'll be back. I can guarantee it. I don't know if I can afford to stay in a place like this, y'all. This is actually a suite, and it's a pretty sweet suite for not being that big, but it's got a refrigerator with a freezer. And I'm not talking about what the dorm size refrigerators. I'm talking about close to being full size, an apartment refrigerator. It's got a range top, stove top, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't have an oven though, but I care less. Got a nice microwave oven mounted up top. It's got a little small coffee pot. It's got a dishwasher. Go figure, a freaking dishwasher. Got a pretty good sink. It's a pretty good sized sink that has a garbage disposal on it. And the cabinets above the sink are stocked with dishes. I mean, not a whole boatload, but I got to drink my coffee this morning out of a glass, real live coffee mug, not some styrofoam cup or some paper cup with the sleeve you got to put around it so it doesn't burn your hands. So, and a queen size bed, as well as a couch that pulls out into, I think, a full size bed. I'm not sure. Don't need to pull it out. Now, my room doesn't have the greatest view, but I didn't come over here to have a great view out the room window. In fact, uh, I didn't come here to have any kind of view except for when we're walking around. And no, actually, technically, I guess you could say it was limo service, but it wasn't, big stretch limos. These were black SUVs with nice dark tinted windows, so they didn't know who you are. You look like you might be somebody important or you might not be somebody important. But yeah, the car service was great. And I was supposed to make a video about the view from my window because my window gives me the view of a courtyard and another building across the way. Not going to tell y'all what my video is going to, the content of my video, because I may still make it. And when I do, you'll understand totally. But yeah, fun times. What can I say? But that's pretty much that. That was a lot. I talked a lot about a 2 days of my trip. And I go home tomorrow. But hey, I had a great time. I met some wonderful people, and hopefully they'll stay in touch with me. I have that digital business card that I use. It's one of those QR codes on it that you scan it with your phone. Well, I've shared my information with quite a few people. Not everybody shared theirs back yet. Still waiting, but hey, it's groovy cool. And yeah, this trip has definitely been a success. It's been an adventure, an opportunity of a lifetime. And oh, I forgot to finish telling y'all about the goodies. Okay, you see, I got my tumbler. That in itself, you could have gave me nothing else, and I'd be like, okay, great. Well, I found out that API had left us goodie bags downstairs. Well, I missed out on mine because I got here late, so I got downstairs a little later than scheduled because I had to get out of my nasty clothes from flying and sweating and everything. But I got my gift bag when I came back, and here's something else that was in it. Don't know how well you can see. It's the API, and this is a portable, if you will, little sanitizer shaped like an ink pen. I think that is too cool. And then the thing I could have used the most at the airport in Houston, they gave me a portable little power bank that I'll be able to plug my phone in if stuff goes sideways tomorrow. So yeah, and other goodies that were really good, and a laminated map thingy of the district. So that's cool. When I come back and I can go sightseeing, I will have a map to do that. And then, of course, Energy Citizens gave me this little tote bag. It's got the strings on long enough to like put it on your back, wear it as a backpack. Well, women might do that. Men probably wouldn't, but anyway. And inside of there is one of those cooler bags, hot or cold, whatever you want to do. I call it cooler bag, but it's it's a little foldable ice chest, if you will. Cool as all get out. Looks like it could fit a 6-pack in it, plus cold packs. So yeah, great. Oh, and also a little teeny tiny, about that big, a little bit bigger than my power bank, first aid kit. Too cool, too cool. Is it very practical? I don't know, but is it greatly appreciated? Yes. Will it get used? Probably. I'm sure there are folks who received that will actually utilize it. I mean, because it's not very big, so it didn't have a whole lot of stuff in it. But anyway, we're coming up on the hour, so I'm going to try to keep this on schedule because I'm an hour ahead of normal at home. So I need to get some sleep before tomorrow. I need to go to bed and get a good night of sleep. And hey, I don't know if you noticed this, but for the first time in several weeks, I actually started the stream on time. That's because I'm not using OBS. But anyway, I just want to thank everybody for popping into the live tonight. I'm sorry, I was supposed to have a guest, but I think she probably collapsed out of exhaustion. But I have her contact info, and I've got contact info for some other folks, and I can pretty much guarantee that there'll be another time when things aren't so hectic and busy and have them on. So, and next week, don't know yet who's going to be here, but somebody will be here with me. I can pretty much guarantee it. So, as always, what I like to say when I close, be kind. Everyone's fighting their own battle, and it's in their heads. And we're all fighting a battle. And not many people will let you know that they're fighting. But a simple act of kindness, a smile, a hello, a good day, a how are you, whatever, it could make so much of a difference. It might mean the world to somebody and might even save a life because you deserve it. And we are going to get on out of here. And as always remember and never forget that why isn't it changing?
It's not a trend. It's a lifestyle.
Okay.